Man, how things have changed. Just a little bit. Since I was a kid, I guess that all depends on what generation you are. But I'm actually at home today, not working, and glad to be home. So,
Let go.
Asteroid of fear.
happy holidays, Merry Christmas from the Men of the House podcast and I guess Unfiltered Friday. A little bit of all of it. Anywho, yes, it's been a bit. It's been a hot minute. I missed a week. Um, it has just been nuts. I think promised you guys a post cruise update last Unfiltered Friday. I was getting ready to go on a cruise with my wife, spend a little time together, kid free, first time since 2013, so 12 years, just her and I. And we completed that and made it back. But, due to that, I think we made it back like on a Thursday, maybe. Um, got back super late, I feel like. And the week just kind of ran into a lot of work as we came into Christmas. Yeah. Yeah. It's been like one long week since we returned. Man, you're like, is it worth it? It's kind of being an entrepreneur, not, going to the corporate world. What happens is, with my wife's job, um, we have to be there physically sometimes. So, you take a week off, you come back, you're double, triple booking, and it's the holidays. A lot of people want their house clean. But yeah, I've been kind of helping my wife with the Airbnb out on the lake. I've gone to that one a couple of times, so I'm very familiar with it. I got the code. It's one that you can. It's right at about four hours. Like people check out at 11, and you're getting done by like 3, and the next person's arriving. So yeah, it cuts it right down to the wire. Just because you got to do like sheets and towels and stuff like that. But it's kind of cool once you get that stuff going. You can clean, and they have like a fire pit on the lake and a dock, and you get all your stuff done. You can hang out for a minute and stare at the water while the clothes dry. Usually that's at the very end. You might have a good 15 minutes while you're waiting for everything to dry. You can go straighten up the patio chairs by the rock, by the fire pit, hang out some. So yeah, I've been doing that, done that a couple of times, and just trying to remove stuff off her plate because the holidays are a huge deal for her. Um, I can tell you, if you guys could see the rest of my office, the elves or Santa's little helpers, whatever those things are, took up took up shop and kind of cleaned it out. And now I'm in here recording because my wife is in the process. We still got Christmas with our other family on Sunday, like out of town, and so she's getting all that ready. And man, yeah, probably till midnight last night, and a lot of today. It's been bananas. But with the 12-year-old kind of waking up late, I was able to wake up early. I kind of woke up like normal time, like a 5 a.m. And then I took a little nap, was able to go to the gym, which was nice, and pick up some drinks, which, again, grateful I'm not working. I think no, I think last year I did work. I think I worked Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I did some Ubering and I made good money. But this year, um, I decided to stay home. Yeah, spend the day with the family. It was interesting because even as we were outside doing something, my wife was trying to film or video my daughter, and or my daughter was like, "We don't have to have pictures. Like these are memories for us." You know, kind of that whole being present thing. It was a pretty neat comment. I thought a neat perspective for a 12-year-old. Because we live in a culture. I guess if you didn't post it, it didn't happen. Kind of like I don't do clips as much anymore. I just don't have the time and CapCut, you know, got rid of their clip cutter and put a bunch of whole AI, bunch of nonsense in there. And I'd much rather have the clip maker. But right now, I'm just not in a position to learn anything new, switch it all up, um, all that kind of stuff. So we're kind of doing bare bones on this as we move into the new year. My wife and I attempt to, you know, kind of LLC what we've been doing. We've been doing kind of, helping elderly people in many different ways from live-in caregiving. I mean, this time last year I was with Buck. So, yeah, I didn't even get to. I think we had a Christmas there, but I can't remember if my wife and daughter went out of town and then, I stayed back, of course, with Buck. So it was a different experience. So this year, yeah, decided to stay home, spend time with the fam, and you know enjoy the gift opening. And we got my daughter a BB gun. She wanted a BB gun, pellet gun, and so I got her one, like a little air rifle. Can go up to 10 pumps. Um, Good for the arm strength. Requires for her size. She can get really good about 7. But this is her first time, and she'll get better at it. But I could have got her a break open. I could have got her something much simpler. But I really, with this one, what I like about it is it kind of teaches her like to think in steps, because you have to pull the bolt back to have the BB or pellet loaded. You have to pump it while the bolt is back. Then you have to chamber or put the BB forward, and then, um, get in your position and unsafe it and shoot at a Coke can like we used to do in the 1980s. I got her a stand with some targets, but it was missing the clips, so I'm going to take it back. They're just paper binder clips, but if it was supposed to come with it, then hey, it was supposed to come with it. So we're going to get her that. She can shoot at paper targets, but that's something she wanted, and I'm cool with that. And she's asked to go to the gym with me. Pretty stoked about that. There's worse things she could be learning. I'll take a daughter who wants to go to the gym and learn how to shoot guns any day. So at the moment, she's out golf carting with my cousin. We got him a gong target. And so we had did some target practice. He's got all kinds of guns and whatnot, and so he has a nice little 22 with a, I think, a suppressor or something, and we do like eight or 10 shots, and um, it's got a nice scope with like a, I'm not very technical with this kind of stuff, but it's got kind of like a little green dot in a circle. Um, it was fun. I got like three in a row, but and then I was trying to get it while the gong was swinging or rocking, but that's where I kind of missed. And I haven't shot in a while. I grew up shooting, but yeah, it was kind of fun. Like, I don't do it often, um, enough. It's something I grew up doing all the time. My father and I. I mean, that's what you do when you live on 12 acres. But it's a lot more development since then, and you just got to be more careful. And you know, as people keep selling off plots of land to keep building, town keeps moving closer in. Hmm. Kind of reminded me of gave me a lot to think about while my wife was wrapping gifts. We did like a season two, whatever. I think we still got an episode or whatever's left on Landman 2. And we're here in East Texas, and when he mentioned Kilgore, which isn't far away, thought it was interesting. I think he said mosquitoes so big that they could fuck a turkey flat-footed or something. Ah, man, yeah. But I did. It's quite introspective, and to think about it, especially here in East Texas, when you grow up in a place that there's a lot of old oil money, and you start to weigh, like, I don't I don't know if it's my age, the times, whatever it is, the awareness, but you start to see how things work, and you're like, okay, when did they get the idea for drilling? And then, because we needed fuel, and then who bought up the land and the rights and this and that, and um, who buys up the property, and then, what? I guess a gas company buys the rights to drill on your land or something, and, you know, I don't know a lot about it, but, what I do know is it was interesting in some aspects that, like, there's a scene, I don't want to ruin it for you, but where there was a gas leak or something, and if that were possible, it could be dangerous to the area. That was kind of one part, and then thinking about you know some of these desolate places where you see these wells, and you're going like, you know it's producing money for someone. Now that someone is probably sitting in a high rise somewhere else, maybe even in a different country or state. Um, and the people who live in the town and around the town is they're the workers. They serve the people who work on that stuff. Um, and they see some economic, I think, benefit, but not, could it be more? That's all I'm asking. Should those areas be thriving more? I don't know if you guys hear. Oh, football game in the background. There's probably multiple games going because my wife has been between the living room, our bedroom. I'm sure the football game's going on both because my mom and her are both watching games because it is Christmas Day technically, but you're hearing this Friday, I'm assuming. Um, Cheering in the background. The Cowgirls won. Yes. It's actually much later than that. Snoop Dizzle's already performed. It's that late where I'm at. The halftime show is over. But yeah, where are we at? This is a unfiltered Friday. Happy holidays from the men of the house kind of combo. What are we doing? Where are we going? I have no idea. There's just so much, like a mountain of stuff of, really trying to support my wife and grow her because she is kind of the entry point for our clients. And then, us doing it together and how we're going to do it as a business and all the things that got to be set up, from bank accounts to, um, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um, and to think of where the podcast is going to fit in on there. And because I've been, helping her more cleaning, if I can take like even the Airbnb off her hands because it's close, if it's an office day for me, then that helps her out. She can fit in somewhere else. But then also, we have to remind her and I have to have time to be face to face and be on the same page because we, after being 20 years together and we just celebrated our 13th wedding anniversary on the 22nd. Um, yeah, I mean, it's, it's tough. We're learning. We communicate different kind of, um, which we've kind of known, but it's kind of weird. Like I think if you have kids, you'll understand that the kid kind of becomes the common focus, and you know, and that's why they always say like have your date nights and this and that, and um, we've had some along the way, but this was our first chance really, for kind of our anniversary, just us two, and yeah, it was awesome. I really, for me, I enjoy the at sea days most because you can't go nowhere, you can't do anything. Like you're forced to cozy up, read a book, stay in the cabin, you know. Um, but when you're in the Navy, when you're deployed, you want to be in port because that's when you get a break. Because when you're on the boat, it's 24/7. And so, but when you're a passenger, it's like, hey man, it's like you get to work out, you get food, you get to, all kinds of stuff. So I love the at sea days. Port days weren't bad. I mean, I took a nap somewhere, we got a massage, and then I think I took a nap on the beach and woke up to my wife. The high tide was coming in and it was starting to come up under our beach chairs. And I woke up and like hopped up on the beach chair like it was a surfboard because I didn't want to get wet. I was being bougie. I'd already had a massage and we were getting ready to go back on the boat and didn't feel the need to get wet and sandy right before we walked back on. So I hopped on that like a surfboard. But that was massage and nap day at Costa Maya at the Crazy Lobster or something. My wife goes there every time because it's like the $20 massage and, you know, got like a cool, like handmade leather purse. And my wife bought my daughter and my mom some ornaments in Mexico. And it was pretty cool because my mom opened they were wrapped in Mexican newspaper. And she actually saved the paper because she's like, when else are you going to have like a actual Mexican newspaper? And I thought that was pretty cool because it's true. It's like, I was like, shit, man, we should have got a paper. And that's a generational kind of thing. My man Scotty G, he's got, um, um, shoot, the his client who was in the Navy and had like the VJ Day, Victory Day, I think, clipping with the man's medals and uniforms like in a shadow box. And that was kind of a thing. So, and I guess if you're a person who reads and people who are interested in like old books and texts kind of understand the importance of that. Maybe even if you were to collect Sports Illustrated or Playboy, something like that, having special editions. Um, there's some nostalgia there, kind of like records coming back, you know? Just like when my daughter said, "Hey, we don't have to have a photo. There's memory. This is memories for us." I was like, "Yeah, we got to be present, you know?" And that's kind of where I was going with all this was like, um, since the cruise, spending more face to face kind of stuff, um, being out there, going and seeing people. Um, because I think I went and saw one of the clients before we went on the cruise or after. Drove out. He was a real ran oil rigs, and he's in a wheelchair. When you think about Landman, I thought of him when Sam Elliott's like, man, sitting in this wheelchair feels like I fucking got in a car crash. David, yeah, it was a rough job. He did it for real. And like he said, I mean, he's got no complaints. He won't complain, but that's where it got him. It's hard work, very hard work. And I'll tell you, man, they really got it when they hit me with a few things. Um, Old Taylor Sheridan, the actors, boy, they got it right. That scene in the truck when he's like, you did the best you could. And you start to understand, like I start to understand my parents, my father, growing up poor in East Texas, and which was a very oil rich city and the old money and being the poor people and, him marrying a Hispanic, that was not popular in the Bible Belt in the 70s. So just a FYI, a little piece of cultural history if you're not from here. And, you know, thinking about that and thinking kind of how my father, push for more. Like, hey, push for college, to not have to work so hard. Um, all, but we do it at the expense of not being present, always being gone. That's the problem. Um, like me saying, I chose not to work today. I could. I'm sure somebody out there needs something from a gas station, a 12 pack, a bottle of wine, a pack of smokes. I don't know. I'm sure I could Uber. And I mean, one time it might have been 2 years ago. I think Christmas Day, I made, like 34 bucks to deliver a 12 pack of Sprite and a thing of Twizzlers to the neighborhood behind the 7-Eleven I picked it up at. Bananas. Okay. Whatever. I made like 130 bucks in like 3 hours and didn't even have to go far because I stayed in my little local area outside of the major area. But, my wife and I, as we've been communicating and doing things together and reminiscing, she was kind of like, us all being there, that means something too. Like not going and working because you feel like you have to. And yesterday was Christmas Eve, and we went to my aunt's house, and um, it was a really good Christmas, good food, and everybody, the vibes were right. Everybody just seemed to be in a very grateful position, I guess. And we had a lot of fun. And they do like a lot for my daughter because she's the youngest of the family. And I'm grateful that my aunt does that for her. Um, But yeah, it was good. And normally I would have worked yesterday too, but my wife and my daughter, we went and saw my dad. And then one of the clients we help, I hadn't seen in a while, he was actually coming back from the grocery store, and he saw me at my dad's loading up my mom's new vacuum cleaner, and he's like, "Hey, you got a minute to help me put my groceries up and unload a scooter and some other stuff?" And then my wife came by to bring something I'd bought him because last time I was visiting with him, I said, "Hey, man, is there like a kid? I mean, is there a candy you had as a kid that like you just don't see anymore that you like?" And he likes the chunk bars, which are, I think, chocolate peanuts and raisins. And I know they have them at CVS, so I got him a couple of those. And my wife had them, and we would rode separate, and so she brought those over, and she usually cleans for him. So he and I, we just kind of started going to town. And he's like, "You don't got to do that." And she's like, "No, no," because we also brought him some food and a plate from my aunt's, as my wife always does. And then he has an expired license. And because I remember trying to play lotto one time, it wouldn't work because his license was expired. You have to scan it. And he thought because he was a veteran, he didn't really have to renew it. Um, and then he was like, "Hey, can we go to the DMV?" And Friday. And my wife's like, "Oh, you can't just show up anymore for your driver's license. Like, you got to set an appointment." And we had to do all that. And like the next available appointment's 1/8. I mean, it's far out. But he's like, "Do it on my phone." And I'm like, not only did I have to set an appointment for the DMV, I had to do it on an Android. Now, for an Apple person, that's, man, is rough. Yeah. So, um, but yeah, that was good. We were able to be of assistance. And, you know, my wife and daughter split one way because we were at my dad's, and I had to go. I had to go another way to get something. And oh, dollar lotto tickets, for the game, the Saran wrap ball. And I had a convenience store I'd found, and we'd gotten cash, because I'd gotten some the day before. They actually had them, and my wife was like, "Damn, like you should have got like." I said, "But I only had this much cash," and so she gave me the cash, and I went over there, and we all made it home kind of near the same time. But you as we're sitting here, like wrapping gifts, watching Landman, and I come out of this, and I had already been having this thought and kind of telling my wife, like the holidays or Christmas, like it's just not the same as it used to be. Like things used to not be open Christmas Eve. Like, man, I feel like things used to shut down about like the 21st, 22nd. And really, Christmas Eve was like going to relative's house or something. And then maybe you get to open a gift at home. And then Christmas Day was something. But there wasn't like the amount of people working. Um, like Christmas Eve. Like you stayed home, you watched movies. And I don't know how I feel about it. Just being honest. Um, could be age, but I just feel like the world needs to slow down. Like it's moving too fast. Like, what are we rushing to? What are we rushing for? Why does everything got to be open? I mean, sure, like not everybody celebrates holidays the same way. However, kind of miss what was, I think, like the 80s and 90s. I miss that vibe. I miss that spirit. I miss that, you know, and it's the same way. It's like we got stuff to do and then go do a whole nother Christmas and almost like two because like our other kids like on Saturday and then Sunday, the big one, come back Monday. Yeah, we got a lot to do. I kind of want to reorganize my office, my space, kind of looking for a different look as we move into the new year, as I focus in on what it is I'm going to do with the podcast, the stories I want to tell, making definitive dates and times. That's kind of been the issue lately is I've just had not a lot of time for interviews. I have probably 4 or 5 people or more just that I need to get back to in the past like month. But I'm just so far behind, which I apologize for in one sense. However, I'm not going to apologize for if that's what's required for me to be better with me so I can be better for my wife and my daughter. And hey, everybody else and everything will have to wait. And that's okay. That is okay. My wife got me these cool little affirmation card things, and you put one up every day. And this one says, I am enough and I will always be enough. And yeah, but taking that little time out with my wife, that trip, and, approaching 50 years old, um, in the next year, um, a lot of reflection and a lot of thoughts of going, like about to be half a decade. And, you know, man. And then my wife and I, like learning like how this relationship started, looking back where we started, how we built, and then kind of where we are now and deciding to do something together. Um, as opposed to doing that old traditional seek out the job thing, which was funny because we both ended up working for the same organization in Austin, just different locations. Um, So yeah, we're aligned. But yeah, getting us and divvying up roles and responsibilities and, figuring out how to work together while also, being respectful in terms of she's not your employee. I'm sure there's some husband and wife entrepreneurs who can um, comprehend or understand what I'm trying to get at. That it probably is, it takes a very unique balance if you're going to work together and be together and not have separation. But that means we have to plan for us to have face to face time. So we're always on the same page, both personally and professionally. But then, it's also like you see everybody around us. Um, we get older, they get older, and you're like, whew, like this thought of her and I, like doing life together and how we've done it and how we're going to continue to do it. And same with Landman, and, you know, his wife passes away, and, it just makes you think like people who are together that long, how they do it, what it's like. It's like we're going into a new chapter, which is exciting, but also, it can make you nervous. Think like anything. Yeah, that's where we're at with the men in the house. And like realizing like, oh, like a like kind of men's group kind of a thing. I don't know. It's a lot to think about, like how I started a podcast and want to be a podcaster, yet it leads you to kind of this other stuff because you still have to make a living and do stuff unless you were a full-time podcaster, which I certainly wouldn't mind being. But I would still, it's still about the stories and the time with the person. Like I would never have the stories of Buck without having not spent that time, which offers perspective. So yeah, maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, it's multiple things. But I gotta figure out how I'm gonna fucking Rubik's Cube that shit together. So it makes sense and has a flow. If that makes sense. I gotta put pen to paper. But first I gotta make it through the holidays. That's kind of the key. That's where I feel like I'm at, is like, let's take care of this so we can, mm, lots to do. Man, yeah, that was a long pause because that was me thinking how much shit is required to get done. The amount of focus I need to have, the amount of organization I need to have, the amount I'm going to have to be on point and really be rigid. Yeah, that's probably what I'm more nervous about. Hmm. But we'll get there. It's almost like starting a master's program. Know you're going to do it, know it's going to be some effort, but when you look up 15 months from now and you're walking across the stage and you're like, I did it, you know, I'm hoping 15 months from now, it'll be very different. Be like, holy hell, look where we are. All because we started it. But yeah, that was another time where her and I. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Nervous, excited. But we're going to start getting this thing wrapped up because it's about to be turkey time. Gobble, gobble. We had pizza for lunch, but we're having turkey, cornbread dressing, mashed potatoes, gravy, Crown Royal pecan pie from Specs. All the other stuff came from Sprouts. Shout out to Sprouts for them being open, having the good deals ready to go. Get some organic turkey. So while that's finishing up, maybe I can get all this stuff done I need to get done. But I want to finish out the day spending time with my wife and my family. So while I love you guys and I thank you for joining me, I thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me. I'm going to try to get back to what matters most and what should matter most to you guys too. And that's being present with those you love around you. Because none of us know the day. It's like having a bank account. You never know when it's going to hit zero. So that doesn't mean go out and spend every dollar. It means be intentional. So remember, intentionally set a time, some time aside to spend with your family. And it's not all for the gram. It's not if you didn't post it, it didn't happen. Like my daughter said, these are memories for us. Sometimes memories are all we have. Kind of like the old days. But I think that's what makes them good. Remembering that. So, you guys go out and make some memories with those that you love. And until next time, remember to go out and be the person that you want to meet. Peace.
Let go.